As we know, photography is not cheap. You've got lenses that can cost anywhere from $500 for lower end bodies. That can even range up to $1,000. But as you get full frame and you get higher resolution, you need good lenses, and you're gonna have to open up your wallets. And by the title of this video, I'm gonna be showing you two options. I'm not gonna go really in depth and break it down. I'm gonna break down one lens in its actual review, but we've got two lenses to look at. And those will be the Tamron 24-70 and Canon 24-70 V2. Keep in mind, this is the newest version of Tamron's lens, the 24-70 2.8 VC-G2. Now, it's been a very popular question of which to buy. There is a couple differences with these lenses, and once again, I'm not going to go really in depth with settings and everything and all the tech specs of them. I'll keep them for a little bit for the actual Tamron review, so I'm not sure when this will be out. This might be out before this comes out. Just look down in the description. I own this lens right here, the Canon 24-70, and this can cost around $1,600 to $1,800, all depending on rebates and everything like that Canon offers. The big allure to something like this, a Tamron or like a Sigma, but in this case, the Tamron 24-70, that it's $1,200 and it offers VC, vibration control. This Canon lens here, the version 2, does not. And that's a big thing for a lot of people if you need it, and it is a good option to have if you absolutely need it. I'm pretty good shooting up to like 1/30th or 1/40th without getting really any kind of shake in it, and that's really my limit. So I'm not sure. The one big allure is the VC with this, besides the price point, is that this can do up to 5 stops of vibration control and IS and image stabilization. It has been, some people have said that the actual effectiveness is about 3.5 stops, so you might not be getting the 5. I can't verify that. I don't really kind of care about that. I'm just going to tell you how I used both of these at a two recent weddings. I'll show a couple examples. I'm not going to go insane, and how these worked for me. The one thing you might notice off the back, and I noticed this with my first impressions when I opened up this lens, is that this Tamron lens is much larger and bulkier than I thought it would be. Tamron has done a great revamp of their new lenses and everything, and I noticed that with their Tamron 10-24, and I was like, that's a good lens. This Tamron 24-70 definitely holds its weight in value, but like I said, it is a little heavier than I expected it to be. You are getting a good piece of glass though. This is an 82mm mount, so keep that in mind if you want to use filters and everything, but you get essentially everything that you need, and it is weather sealed as well. So this packs a punch for $1,200. I did notice one flaw of this though, but obviously don't count out the Canon 24-70, one of the most popular lenses out there. You know, amazing piece of glass as well, and that's why I own it. But once again, people don't want to be spending a lot of money. I noticed a couple key things, and one of them being is the low light focusing and hunting. The Canon 24-70, in my opinion, is pretty much flawless, and obviously there's a lot that goes into the low light stuff and how it, you get your focus and everything like that. But this 24-70, I didn't really get any hunting. It's very fast and accurate and snappy, and I highly recommend this any day of the week. The Tamron 24-70, probably 90, if not 95% of the time, was good. It's very fast. I say it's actually pretty smooth and fast compared to what Canon offers, but it did hunt a little bit. And that happens especially when I get out to the 70 range. For some reason, and I even had this issue when I was reviewing this lens and testing it out for its own review. When I went to a state park, it was a nice bright day out. For some reason, when I was at 70, at times the lens would hunt to try and find focus. Not sure why, not sure if it's just a copy, but just something to note. Would I trust a lens like this? Yeah, most likely, but I don't know if that's a factor to you. It's just something to notice and to, take into account. I did feel I tested both of these and used these both on a Canon 5D Mark IV, Canon 60 Mark II, and for my testing, I also did a Canon 80D with this. And once again, it's a fast lens. It's good. The one thing I probably did notice also that's a little bit differently if you're shooting wide open is that this is probably a little bit, you get more of a vignette with this Tamron compared to the Canon. Not saying the Canon's the sharpest by sharpest at 2.8 as well. It's just the bang for your buck. For me, I own this Canon 24-70 for a reason. Yes, it doesn't have image stabilization. Once again, that's a great feature to have, and these lenses should have it for what you're paying for them. So it is kind of BS in a way. but I really trust this lens. The Tamron 24-70 2.8 VC G2 is going to be good for a large majority of people, and people looking at this video deciding if they should spend that extra couple $100, be it $500 or $600 more. This is a good lens to have, 100%. $1,200, absolutely would recommend this. I am a little concerned about the hunting a little bit, but once again, it wouldn't deter me too much. The build quality is pretty good. It's a little bulkier than it should be. That's why I kind of like the build and everything more of this. But I'm very impressed with what Tamron has done recently in this past like year and a half or so, when they've really revamped their style, especially when Sigma really turned out their art line. Canon 24-70, I would probably still go with if you have the extra money. But if you don't, and even compared to the Sigma, that Sigma 24-70, their newest one, isn't rating that well. I'd probably go for something more like this as well. So I do give a high regard for something like this. For me, I'm going to take the Canon 24-70, but in using both, I wouldn't hesitate to use them in a wedding, portrait, or anything environment. A 24-70 is an essential in my opinion because of what it offers and the versatility that you can have if you want to zoom. And one last thing I just also want to show is I'm going to really quickly just put it on the Canon 5D Mark IV and just show you how the dual pixel works with these lenses. How's the speed on them? How does it sound when it's trying to autofocusing? Because that's a big deal. So the one thing you'll notice, and I noticed this with the Tamron 10-24 lens, the newest one, is that the Tamron actually is a much quieter, and I even think probably smoother focusing lens compared to the Canon right here. So that's just something to notate. You don't really hear it focusing. I even tried to leave it natural so you hear it as it is. The Canons do tend to click a little bit as they're trying to focus with the dual pixel, because the dual pixel does demand a lot. So if you're looking for video or something like this, I really enjoy the 16-35. It's much quieter compared to this Canon. This is probably a better option, even though obviously you're dealing with a little bit more weight here. But I just wanted to show that as well. Both are very good. You're going to get great quality out of them. But the Tamron, for me, with dual pixel autofocusing, if you want something that's very smooth, especially going backward, front and backwards, the Tamron looked pretty darn good compared to the Canon in that case. All in all, I know people hate hearing this. The decision does come down to you. The one big thing I hear a lot of people saying is their own. But once again, I would personally go with the Canon 24-70 and save the extra couple $100 because I think it works well if you're going with the Canon. That's the same thing as the Nikon 24-70 on the D50. I would absolutely stay that route as well. But the majority of people don't need to spend that money if they don't have it, and they can go with something like this and feel absolutely amazed by their purchase, and it's not going to fault them in any way. But that's just my thoughts and everything of the Canon 24-70 versus the Tamron 24-70. And hopefully I gave you something, or something struck your mind as we went through this. Any questions or comments, I'm going to answer those down below. If you wanted something more technical, look at the full review. Either it's out or when it comes out, and you can really see this lens more in depth. But actually getting your hands on, using it in the real world and everything, I know these lenses in and out pretty well. And I do highly recommend this one, but I also really highly recommend owning the Canon Native as well in this case.